Hi guys, sorry. Elmarie here from Worcester, Western Cape, South Africa. Thank you to all returning viewers that you actually are returning, and welcome to anyone who's new. This is my video podcast about fiber and fiber related stuff. And yeah, I am actually making a new video, which I haven't done, I think, in a month. I think the last one was about a month ago. And I'll talk about that stuff a bit later. Today I am drinking coffee, just plain black coffee, and yes, I have sugar in it. It is so cold in the Western Cape at the moment, and ironically, we always say that this would be a very nice summer's day in Switzerland, I guess. I think it's today is a maximum of 15 or something degrees Celsius. I'm not sure, but we've got a wind coming up from the mountainside, and the mountain is full of snow. So it may be 15 degrees Celsius. It certainly does not feel like it. And my house in itself is really cold. So even when it's like 25 degrees outside, it's definitely cold inside, which is great in summer, because in summer we get really hot weather, but in winter, not so nice. Anyway, having said that, so you guys will have noticed that there was a space even on social media, if you follow me there, that you would have noticed I'm very quiet. I'm avoiding Facebook again because it's driving me crazy, between people fighting about COVID conspiracy theories and to vaccinate or not to vaccinate, and public riots and looting. It just got too much for me. Really, it always gets too much for me over there, especially on Facebook. Instagram, I feel I have a lot more control over. But Facebook, I seem to have very little control over. So I do start avoiding it when it gets too much for me. In fact, I just go on a full-blown social media fast. And yeah, that's what I actually did. So if anybody should wonder what's going on there. Also, in my previous video, and if you follow me on Instagram, again, you would have noticed that I said I was in this really creative slump. And it actually started after the last class I did, and it always does. I always have that thing. Is once I finish something and I'm actually quite happy with it, then I tend to go into a slump. I used to be like that when I did paintings as well. When I had a painting that was sold, it was just, I didn't know what to make next. So that's nothing new to me, but this time it lasted far longer than I would have thought. And I literally started making, I made 2 dresses for myself. Well, 3 actually, but the third one I can't wear. I'm gonna have to rip that one out. It's about 2 sizes too big for me. And the other ones were Sew Liberated, had a sale on their sewing patterns, which was awesome. I'll put a link down below for Sew Liberated. Sale is past, but they had a 25% sale, and that for me was great because I so wanted to buy some of their patterns before, and I just couldn't afford it. So they had a sale on. I bought the Stacia dress, which I've made 2 of, and one I'm actually wearing quite a lot, the longer version, and I want to make some more of that. And then I also bought the Metamorphic dress, which is the one I'm going to have to rip out. But I want to make a wearable muslin, or a muslin first, of the smaller pattern, like the size down from the one I actually made, to make sure that the pattern is now correct before I start using other fabric on it. And thankfully I've got loads and loads of cotton, so that's okay. Sewing, knitting, not been doing a lot. I have an EFO to show you, but I've worn it. A knitting EFO, anyway. Ta-da! Socks. I just did normal, well, actually this one I just did toe up sock, and yes, you can see that it has been worn. And German short row heel, and this is a DK weight. It's like leftover stash of yarn that I just didn't sell. I mean, you can see the color. It's like a very much acquired taste. And this is it's a 50% merino and 25% baby alpaca, 25% kid mohair. And yeah, I love them, as you will notice. It's not super wash, so if I use it, I have to wash it by hand and just let it dry all by itself. But they do keep my feet warm, and trust me, you want to keep your feet warm around here. I mean, look at my hands, they're like blue, and it's not even the coldest day. I'm telling you now, I've been freezing. Anyway, so right behind, I finished a scarf for my husband that I also started knitting. I'll show you the whip in a minute. I started knitting it and I didn't like what I was knitting. It's too narrow, it's not gonna get the right length, and I thought, oh, you know, just leave it and try and crochet something. And I just made him a scarf with moss stitch, a nice long one that he's actually wearing right now, so I can't show it to you. And then I thought, well, I've got this yarn, which was the yarn that I dyed up for the Soldotna crop that I was going to do, and I just didn't get into the mood for knitting any form of a sweater. I actually started just knitting a plain raglan sweater that I was going to make a stripy one from, and I don't know, it just didn't happen. I just couldn't find anyway, so I got this pattern online, free pattern. I'll put the patterns down below, the links for the patterns. The poncho that I would have crocheted this one, because I crocheted my husband's scarf and I actually finished that. So I thought, well, maybe just get a nice pattern for a poncho or something, or a sweater, crochet sweater. I don't really like crochet sweaters, let me just full disclosure, especially when they're just made with normal a double crochet. It doesn't feel like a sweater to me. A sweater for me is more of a solid thing. It's supposed to keep me warm, it's not supposed to let air in, if you know what I mean. And then I started doing the poncho, and I realized the poncho is just plain 2 panels that are crocheted down and then sewn together on the sleeve side, on this side. But you don't add any sleeves, they're just 2 panels, and then you add a hoodie. And I was like, I started finishing this side, and I thought, I don't think I have enough yarn to finish both panels and add the hoodie. So I just made this. This is actually side. I'm sorry, but I have to just say this. I'm actually quite chuffed with myself because I sewed this together. That I need to really look very carefully to see where I sewed it together. Anyway, this is how it came out. This was a finished panel for the one side, and then I thought, you know what, I'm sewing this together, I'm making a cowl out of it, and I'll add a hoodie. So, oh, it's cold. Let me just put back my cowl. And then I started making the hoodie with a cowl after I finished sewing it together, and I picked up stitches, and I started making the hoodie, and I thought, I don't like this. And I pulled it out again. I'll talk about the design now. And then I decided I'm going to make a beanie, which I did. I finished this one this morning. I just need to find where I actually sewed it together. I'm kind of getting better at that. I really am. I'm really chuffed with myself. Not supposed to be chuffed with myself, but I am. Okay, so this is the beanie that is part of this set, and this is actually right there at the crown. If you haven't seen that, I'm sorry. And then I have enough left over to make mittens, which I'm gonna do. I haven't crocheted mittens in a long time though, so I have to go look for patterns again and try and remember how to do that, because so far I've been knitting them far more than crocheting. I've been out of crocheting for quite a while. Anyway, this is actually sort of kind of my own design, I guess, but now I don't have a written pattern for it, both of them, because the stitch pattern is not the same as the pawn shop stitch pattern. I found the stitch pattern in a different tutorial on YouTube, and I actually just like the stitch pattern because I like the texture it gives. And then this is a very plain beanie. You'll see at the top is just normal half double crochet. Again, I don't like a full double crochet on something like this because it makes it look, it's too holy. I don't know how, and not holy in the sense of being holy. It's got a lot of holes in it. You see that part's over there. The gaps over there will actually be far bigger if it was a double crochet. So single crochets and half double crochets actually makes it a bit more solid. This particular stitch pattern is called single crochet slip stitch. I think it's either a single crochet slip stitch or a half double crochet slip stitch. I am not sure, so I will go and look for it and try and find it, and if I do find it, I will put it in the description box. If I don't find it, it won't be there. If it's not there, I just couldn't find it. But I actually really like the stitch pattern. It's basically 2 chain stitches, and then you slip stitch into the next stitch. So you create this little you see, wait, it will be much easier to see there. Okay, so you see that over there, those are the 2 chains, and then you go into the next stitch. If I can't find a tutorial for it and you want me to do a tutorial for it, I will do so. It's a very easy stitch. It's a lot like almost like a V stitch, except the slip stitch makes the texture, and I absolutely love it. And because you're actually crocheting into that 2 chain space. So yes, I love this. This will be the stitch pattern that I will use with the mittens as well. Okay, so guys, let me just take a sip of coffee. You will notice that I'm actually wearing makeup today, if you can notice it. But I thought if I'm going to take a selfie for Instagram with my new beanie and cowl, which I did do, or have any form of a video for YouTube, then I need to put on some makeup, because otherwise I'll just look like a picture from a mortuary. Everything on me was like white to a bluey shade, like my hands. So I decided no. Today I need to actually put on makeup so that I don't freak people out. Okay, so that's it for FOs. The only whip I can show you right now is this one, which is the scarf I talked about, and you can see it's way too narrow for a man's scarf. But I'm thinking of just grafting these 2 together and using it for myself, because it's long enough for me. It's not long enough for him, but it's long enough for me. And if I wrap it around twice, it will be thick enough for me as well. So that's really all I can show you guys. I mean, this is not going to be a very long episode. I do have some personal information that I do want to share though. I've been the main reason why I've been so quiet on social media, as I mentioned, is really too much going on. But also, okay, if you're not interested in my relationship with God, then you want to skip this part. But I have always wanted, since I was a teenager, I wanted to study theology. At that point, I was still in the Dutch Reformed Church, and yeah, I don't want to be a church pastor. I don't want to be a church leader, but I am a teacher, and I always wanted to do that. I wanted to join YWAM. My dad refused. He said he's not going to pay for something that has no value in the long run. So life happened, I got married, I had my kids and all of that. And I did do studies on the Bible, but it was mostly like in church format. So it was doctrinal or more topical studies that they did. And then you lose a lot of the Bible. And then what happened 10 years ago actually was, as we say in Afrikaans, cherry op die koek, cherry on the cake, if you want to know what the English translation is. And I had a slight negative encounter with a very old gas geyser. I nearly died. It's just a miracle that I'm alive. It will be now in August, exactly 10 years. And in the process, I had brain damage. So I don't want to go into details about that. I just give you the basics. And I lost a lot of my ability to read. And I used to be very, very, very clever, with the emphasis on used to be. And I had a lot of knowledge, and I lost a lot of that knowledge, which is good. I had way too much knowledge for my own good. But it has been part of my journey to just be able to read again, which I can do now again. It's slow, but it's getting there. And I came across a website called Christian Leadership Information. If you're interested in that, just contact me. I'll give it to you. But I am going to start a new YouTube channel, which is actually what I'm getting towards. So I'm busy studying theology. They've got a lot of free courses. I enrolled as a student, but I'm studying. So I think it's so cool. And the YouTube channel that I'm starting will be specifically for Bible study, for word study. So if you're interested in that, I'm not going to go further into that. If you have any questions, just private message me and ask me. I will definitely, as soon as I have that YouTube channel up and running, I will put it down in the description box. Am I still continuing with what I'm doing? Yes. However, there are other things happening in the background that I can't talk to you guys about now. Big things, yarn things, fiber things, stuff happening, but I can't talk about that yet until it has actually happened, which God willing will be around September. So there are things happening in the background that it is almost impossible for me to talk about. And those things are sort of, plus the studies, plus the weather, is just messing with my head. So if I'm quiet on social media, or this YouTube video happens only once a month, please forgive me. I don't know what else to say. There's so many things happening right now that it's sort of overwhelming, I think, at times. And I think everybody is there at the moment. And I can honestly say I'm grateful. It's not that there are difficulties. There are a lot of difficulties in South Africa, but there are a lot of difficulties worldwide. So on just a basic human level, yes, things get a bit stressful. But on the other hand, the other stuff messing with my head is good stuff. They're good stuff. They're not stuff that is actually bad. And it's just stuff that I can't talk about yet. I did mention that. Anyway, so I'm 20 minutes into this podcast and I'm actually done. I haven't got anything else to say except if you with the other YouTube channel, I will also be opening another Instagram account. And I will definitely, as soon as that's up and running, I'm finishing this video now, and then I'm going to start the introduction video of that channel, and I will be uploading both of them. So I'll inform everybody about that as soon as it's done. Okay, so that's that for now. As I said, it's a very, very short episode. I don't have a lot of content, so I'm afraid that's how short it will be for now. I hope to have a bit more content with the next episode. I am still going to be dyeing. I will definitely be sewing. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna talk to you guys again. Have a lovely rest of the week, and please take care of yourselves. The fact of the matter is, no matter how many times people go on a tangent about where COVID comes from, it's here. So we're dealing with it. And no matter how many people fight about whether to be vaccinated or not, it's of no logical use. So let's just love each other and have compassion with each other and take care of each other as far as we possibly can. Okay, guys. See you again. Bye.